So what has been going on when it comes to VeChain as of late? People have been asking me that, so I'm going to compile some things that I found when it comes to VeChain as of late in terms of their activity, and I'll discuss that in today's video, and I'll talk about what I think about the charts, I suppose, later. But I first want to clarify, nothing I say is financial advice. I'm not telling anyone to do anything, and this is just purely my perspective. So, did you know that recently Sunny Lu, he did attend Consensus, which is an event in Miami. Now, people like to say, well, what is that? Consensus is this event, basically, right? A lot of people call it like the Super Bowl of blockchain events. Some other people call it like the WrestleMania of blockchain events. Some other people call it like the main event, like the NBA finals. Some people like to refer to that, but these are all just nicknames, right? Basically, it's this event and it's very focused on kind of this like blockchain space. But basically, Sunny Lu, the CEO, he was there, right? And he did speak about VeChain's AI future at that event. Now, granted, though, this event has already happened, but I'm just saying still, he did do that in terms of like, attending the event, and he did talk about AI in terms of VeChain's quote unquote AI future. Why does this matter? Well, it's because we have to kind of rewind the clock a little bit, right? Let's take a look back in 2020, which I get it is a very long time ago. Some people would like to say, but still, back in 2020, VeChain's CTO, which his name is Antonio, he was already even talking about like the need for AI in terms of companies, especially back then, which is kind of like almost unheard of, back in 2020. At that point, not very many people thought about that, let alone within this space, right? Within this blockchain space, especially like, around 6 years ago, there was pretty much no talks about that. Like back in 2020, what were people talking about? Cardano, Shiba Inu, Dogecoin? You know what I mean? Like they weren't talking about AI generally speaking back then. But besides that, now a lot of, projects do care about that. So we have to think about this when people say, oh, Sunny Lu, he's just, joining the bandwagon, right? He's just trying to join this AI train. He doesn't care about AI. VeChain's a project that's focused on the supply chain management market. They don't care about AI. Well, here's the thing. If we think about it, VeChain, arguably, I would say, right, for the past 6 years, actually, there has been kind of a focus, I think, indirectly or somewhat directly when it comes to AI. 6 years is a long time, by the way, right? That's a long time within this space. That's a lot of time to build the infrastructure. That's a lot of time to actually develop what they want to develop, and actually time to plan out their strategy when it comes to that, right? Because a lot of these projects, a lot of these companies out there, they have each sometimes their own individual strategy when it comes to how they're gonna tackle the AI space. That's the thing. So when it comes to Sunny Lu again talking at Consensus, basically, that was kind of a culmination, I think, of around 6 years of work. Arguably, I would say, or 6 years of focus, right? In a sense, that's just my perspective. But when I take a look at that right there, I think this puts VeChain in a better position moving forward to be recognized as a project that is indeed having this focus when it comes to AI. And sometimes people like to say, but VeChain, it doesn't have the infrastructure to handle something like that. Well, I like to beg to differ a little bit. Let me explain what I mean by this. If I take a look at the VeChain Thor blockchain, right? Usually, when it comes to the space, when it comes to AI projects, people want something that's reliable. Now we take a look at the VeChain Thor blockchain. Allegedly, zero network outages ever since 2018. Zero? Like, we got to think about that. That right there really matters for some of these AI developers when they want to choose a place to build on, right? That's first of all. Second of all, just having reliability in general is crucial. What's the point of having a very nice and cool vehicle, but then it's not reliable? That's just the way you take a look at it. Give me the boring vehicle, right? Give me the vehicle that's not fun, that's not exciting, but reliable. That's just kind of my mindset. Give me the Toyota. You know what I mean? Give me the Mazda. Right? I don't need some random vehicle that breaks down every, 500 miles. No, sir. No, thank you. I don't want that. But besides that point, I don't care how cool it looks. If it's an unreliable vehicle, I don't want it. Right? I want the reliable vehicle. But besides that, when I take a look at VeChain, people like to say, well, its primary native token still around 8 times lower than where it once was in, December 2024, basically. Well, is that a bad thing, though? Now, I don't think it's a bad thing for me. Granted, it's not a good thing in terms of the charts, but I'm just saying, in terms of an actual sort of mindset of dollar cost averaging, you know what? If VeChain, or should I say VET, its primary native token, if it goes back to that from this point, it already feels like an altcoin season to me. Now, it wouldn't actually be one because, of course, December of 2024 was not an altcoin season, in my opinion, allegedly, hypothetically. But I'm just saying, if it goes back to that, it already feels like a somewhat altcoin season to me, right? To me, at least, because of just how much this has had a pullback. Granted, things having a pullback may not seem like such a positive thing, but ask Warren Buffett if he thinks pullbacks are cool or not. You know, I've seen Berkshire Hathaway, right, accumulate stocks when things are low. I'm just saying, you know, I don't know if they find a quote unquote dip to be a bad thing. Some people might think it is, but some others view it in a different lens. It's like, for instance, some athletes out there, they train like very hard for their sport, right? But some other people out there, they're like, you know, why would they want to do that? Sometimes they think about it that way, but it's a different frame of mind. Some people out there think about things just differently. So when it comes to this space, yeah, sure, some people may view like a pullback as a bad thing, but to me, if the pullback is like this, okay, sure, I will never be able to know if it could ever recover back to a previous point. And also, I'd never be able to know exactly the moment in time. There's just no way I would be able to know that. But I'm just saying, if it could go back to that, I don't know if I would kind of be upset that I'm dollar cost averaging at a time when it was around 8 times lower than that, right? I mean, let me just put it in a more simple way. If let's say for whatever reason VET were to return back to around a 5.3 billion market cap in which it was back in December of 2024 one point, like let's say in a random time machine I was at that point, I don't think I would regret ever dollar cost averaging into VET at around a 650 million market cap. That's just my perspective, right? Now I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but that's just kind of the way I take a look at it. In which case, VET is at around a 650 million market cap currently. But there's no way to tell if that could happen, though. That's the thing. But I'm just saying, maybe in a hypothetical, if that was the case, I wouldn't be upset that I dollar cost average when it was at a way lower point. That's just kind of my mentality, right? But again, I'm not telling anyone to do anything. But on the flip side as well, I mean, you know, VeChain, it's in the top 100. It's currently ranked 76 in the world in terms of market cap within this space, of course. But I'm just saying, still, like a project like of this size, I don't know if it's that easy to just for that to become irrelevant like that. You know, even Luna Classic has a very big following. I mean, when I take a look at VeChain, come on, right? The VeChain Thor blockchain, the focus when it comes to AI as of late, the UFC partnership. You know, the thing is, when it comes to VeChain, I like the substance. That's the thing. I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but I'm just saying a lot of other projects out there, it feels like kind of empty a little bit. It's like, you know, when you open a bag of chips and then like most of it is empty in some cases, it's like, okay, sure, I get it. Sometimes they weigh it based off the weight, but just make the package a little bit smaller, you know? So I don't expect it to be something it's not. I get it, probably, maybe they do it for safety or whatever. But those things are so easy to pop anyways. Like, what the? You know, it's like, don't give me like a package this massive and only give me like this much chips. I mean, come on, right? But yeah, you know, whatever. I can't do anything about it anyways. You know, that's just a complaint, I suppose. But besides that point, though, when I take a look at other projects out there, it kind of feels like that, right? It kind of feels a little bit empty. But I actually feel a little bit of the substance in this hypothetical case. But that's just my mindset. So yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. But I'll be sure to make more updates moving forward. So hopefully you all stay tuned for that. I want to say thank you for watching, though. I greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'm out. Peace. Bye.